The programmer wrote a piece of code to show you. How hard is it to press the gun well in PUBG? Hello everyone. I'm a curious programmer, Xiaoxuan Tengkong. First of all, I need to declare that this discussion is only at the level of fixed target gun pressure. It hasn't risen to the point of pressurizing a gun to hit a moving target to follow the gun, because of only the fixed target alone. If you can be stabilized, it's hard enough as it is. First, let's watch a couple of videos. I believe that such a strong level of gameplay is what most PUBG players dream of achieving. In order to achieve this dream, I also studied a lot of videos shared by bloggers. From mouse hardware properties, to DPI-CPI adjustments, to OS mouse options, to in-game sensitivity adjustments, and more. It's a series of efforts. I think with my credentials, the rest of my life will not be able to reach the level of the video. Which brings me to the topic I'd like to explore this time around. How hard is it to press the gun well in PUBG? Let's start. First of all, let's briefly introduce the principle of gun pressure. In the game, when you fire a gun, the gun head will go up. In my opinion, this mechanism has at least two purposes. One is to simulate the recoil generated by the bullet when it is discharged in reality, with a certain degree of realism. The second is to increase the difficulty of the game, to make the game more competitive. I would like to pay special tribute to the spirit of competition. So since each bullet will generate recoil when it is discharged, to deflect the head of the gun upwards, the player needs to move the mouse to provide a downward deflection. In order to compensate for the upward deflection, each bullet that is discharged requires us to use the mouse to pull the right amount of reverse deflection to keep the gun head stable enough. This ability to pull the perfect reverse offset trajectory is the watershed between the high-end gamers and the low-level gamers. In order to unveil this mouse trajectory, rigorous experiments are needed. In order to stabilize the experiment, I used Python to write a piece of code to let the program simulate mouse movements. This will allow me to slide the exact same mouse track every time I test the gun press, so that the analysis of the gun press will be accurate enough. In this program, I've got two features ready to go. First, I can record the mouse pointer's trajectory. The second is to let the mouse pointer to simulate the trajectory as I wished. The simulated trajectory can be what I specify through the code, or I could have recorded it by moving the mouse around. Same principle as mouse macros. Everything is ready. Only missing data. Now if only we could get the perfect trajectory data, I can make the perfect shot. So the problem is, such perfect data.
How do I get it?
Since I'm not a programmer specializing in Windows software development, I have limited knowledge about it.
So there aren't many ideas that come to mind. Here's a brief list of a few. First,
read game memory to find data from the game process. A rough explanation. Every piece of software we open will be in at least one process, and each process is the private domain of the corresponding software. Software can do all sorts of things in its own processes. Games are also software.
They also have their own processes. So, I can sneak into the game's processes and do some tricky things. Like monitoring when I shot the gun.
How much recoil each shot has.
How much distance do you need to move in reverse?
So that I can keep the head stable. I could even tamper with the data. Like to make the jitter that should be 100 to 10 or even less.
So that although my mouse doesn't move,
the shaking will also be noticeably suppressed. This approach is the most direct and effective. But since we've come this far, what's the point of pressing the gun?
Wouldn't it be better to just headlock it? Actually, it's not good.
Because it's definitely an infringement on the game's progress, an infringement that's easily punishable. Second, similar with the first way, after I get the accurate data, I run away.
Leave the game process.
And then simulate the mouse movement to complete the gun pressure. It's a little more covert and easier to avoid detection. But even this way is still spying on the game process. Is more or less a violation too. To avoid risk, I can't use this method. Third, find a friend who is a great gun suppressor. Use the program I wrote earlier to record his mouse trajectory when he presses the gun. Then send me the data file. I'll use the one from his gun press. Then my mouse settings in the OS and the in-game sensitivity settings are aligned with him, and I can perfectly replicate the other guy's pressure shots. There's one fatal flaw in this approach. It is, I don't know any friends who are experts in this field. Since none of the above methods work, I had to construct the mousetrack by myself. In the next video, we'll look at how to construct a mousetrack that achieves the gun pressure effect, like the one at the beginning of the video.